everybody. Coach Mel here. As you heard on the intro, I wear many hats. And what did we not include on there, Josh? Magazine publisher. And we have a podcast. Welcome. It's November 30th. Tomorrow is December 1st, 2022. Last week was Thanksgiving. We did a little traveling, just got back, so just got connected with Josh and thought we'd roll out a little podcast here. What the heck? So this podcast we're going to do today is a spin-off of a Facebook Live that I did. Whenever I do a really good Facebook Live, I love to roll it over into a podcast. I have to tell you too, I'm warning you, I ended up getting more emotional on this podcast than any other podcast that I've ever done or on my Facebook Live. And I don't apologize for it because I tell people that weight loss and life and experiences are a lot of emotions. And I don't recommend that you just choke your emotions down and just, sweep them under your lumpy rug. I recommend that you let it out. So we'll see how this goes. There's your warning. And you'll understand why I was getting emotional when you start to hear what the topic of convo is. A lot of people and experiences just came rushing back into my mind. I've worked with thousands of people and it all came rushing back to me. So we're going to roll. I usually do my podcast and kind of search for what the title will be. So it might be this title that I'm going to talk about. It might be something else. So are you guys ready? I hope you are walking or riding your bike or doing something active while you listen to this. So how do people who have reached their health and fitness goals maintain their weight and stay motivated day in and day out? If you haven't started yet, this is really relevant for you. Or do you ever feel like you're lacking in the area of motivation? This is really relevant for you. A lot of times when you yourself aren't into a routine of healthy eating, you have a meal plan, you have a coach, you have a routine, it's easy to look at other people and wonder, like, what am I doing wrong? Why are they so different than me? Why does it seem like I keep seeing these people, all these success stories on Melfit, where these people are reaching their goals, they're maintaining, like, what am I doing wrong? So if you feel like this is you, listen up, because this is going to give you a real insight into what it's like to be outside and what it's like to be on the inside of Melfit. And I always tell people, welcome to the other side. It definitely is another side. And the reason that Melfit has so many different levels, we've got a beginner, intermediate, advanced, and then we've got a maintenance plan, is because you have to meet people where they're at now. You can't expect to take somebody from a 1 to a 10 and expect them to succeed. And I know that a lot of people don't have patience with that. They want to start at a 1 and go to a 10, but we all know what happens when you do that is a lot of times you're just setting yourself up for failure. So Melfit is strategically designed to get you to the finish line. Literally, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And one thing I say a lot is, I know you want it yesterday, but how long did it take you to gain the weight that you have? Also, it's unveiling of all of the emotions that cause the weight gain to begin with, and to truly get to your goal and stay there, you have to deal with the emotions. If you never deal with the emotions, you'll just continue the yo-yo dieting. Are most people who have had successful weight loss stories born with an outstanding amount of willpower? What do you think, Josh?
No.
No? The answer is no. Good job. Listen up, Melfit Army. We're going to talk about a client. We're going to refer to her as Jane. Here is a story about Jane. Jane is most new clients at Melfit. Here's how it starts. Jane signs up for a meal plan. She is overwhelmed by 3 simple tasks, such as filling out a questionnaire, submitting her before pictures, and her measurements. After lots of nagging from me, she gets it done. Jane starts with food prepping. She doesn't know how to read labels. Her kitchen and pantry are super unorganized and have never been used for healthy cooking and eating. She's never used most of these ingredients before. She takes longer to shop and find items. Good thing she has me and the Melfit Army. Most people don't ask on our group because they don't want to feel stupid. If you knew what you were doing, you would not have hired me in the first place, and you would be at your goal weight. So don't be afraid to ask. So if you're new to Melfit, what you can take from this is I don't just give you a set amount of calories along with a set amount of macros and give you a foods list. I actually do everything for you. I figure out your calories, I figure out your macros, I create your menus for you for fat loss and weight loss, and I create a shopping list. So when people first start out, it's pretty foreign to them to go to the store and shop for healthy foods because more likely than not, they've been shopping in the inner aisles of the store, in the perimeter of the store, which is where the healthy food generally lurks. Jane's first time meal prepping takes 4 hours. Next week, Jane has it down to 2.5 to 3 hours. As a side note, we've had somebody take as long as 6 hours to meal prep. You realize that this short-term sacrifice reaps long-term results. Jane starts doing these things: cleaning and organizing her fridge and pantry, looking at her list on Wednesday, shopping or getting delivery on Saturday, spends 2 to 3 hours prepping on Sunday to set herself up for success. If you are not on a plan and you are cooking meals off of the app, you can do the same thing with your choice of meals. Maybe you cook once a week, twice a week, or 3 times a week. Either way, you are saving time if you are willing to eat leftovers. Weekly check-in if you're on a plan. Jane at first feels like it's a hassle. She feels like she's a failure because she hasn't completed her work and held up her end of the deal. So what happens every week, if you haven't worked with me before, is you have a weekly check-in. Your obligation is to send a picture of your feet on a digital scale, proving your weight, sending proof of your workouts, whatever requirement that is. It's different on all plans, either via a sweaty selfie or fitness watch. Some plans require a fitness watch, some plans do not. And proof of your free day logged in MyFitnessPal, not going over 1,500 calories. If you do not send your check-in by Tuesday, this week I gave people an extra day because of the holiday, I will nag you. So that's where this comes in, where you feel like a failure because Coach Mel wants to know where your homework is. You learn to actually do the work because you get sick of week after week of not showing up for yourself. And I will say, as a side note, I always ask people when they're struggling, are you doing your part? I take no responsibility for people not doing their part. This is a team. I give you the plan, but you actually have to follow it. You start getting Jane starts getting results. Excuse me. You start getting results when you do the work and are excited to check in. It's like showing up to class without your homework and you know the teacher will ask. You wonder how the other kids get it done. Jane starts listening to Coach Mel's tips about scheduling and time management. If you haven't already listened to our podcast, Everything We Should Know, we learned in the 3rd grade, you should really go over there and listen. It's amazing how people take on Melfit, which is more than they're used to, and they don't factor in that they're actually going to need some help with time management and scheduling. It's huge. It can make or break you. Then Jane looks back and thinks to herself, why did I make this so difficult? Why couldn't I just do it? Why am I fighting the new with the old me? If nothing changes, nothing changes. The time Jane spent thinking about it or texting Coach Mel about starting, Jane could have done it. Why did Jane expect results when she wasn't doing her part? How is it now that Jane is doing her part and the results really don't surprise her? Because in the back of her mind, she knew it would work. Tip: do more on the front end of your week to make up for the weekend, which is where people fall short. The weekend is generally people's weekend. Get extra steps on weekdays, and then if you don't hit your steps on the weekend, you will be fine. It's not what you do every day that matters, it's the average of 7 days. Don't start your 5 workouts that need to be completed on Wednesday if you are on a plan that requires 5 workouts a week. Workouts. In Jane's words, super challenging at first, so out of her comfort zone, doesn't even know how to get started, asks me which ones to do, overthink, never lifted weights before, never made herself a priority, can't wrap her mind around how she can ever get motivated to do this. Success, failure, success and failure. Does her first workout, it goes by fast. There are modifications. It wasn't so bad, she thinks. Why was she scared? Coach Mel's been a personal trainer for over 20 years, working with clients one-on-one. She never hurt them. Why would she hurt me? Have I ever hurt you, Josh?
No.
Jane realizes she does have 25 minutes to commit to herself at least 3 times a week. She realizes she can omit things that are not bettering her health and do her workout first before her guilty pleasure, i.e. Netflix. Moving forward, 12-week Melfit boot camp. The day comes. Final weigh-in, pictures and measurements. Jane thinks there's no way on God's green earth she would ever share her images. She doesn't even hesitate when Coach Mel asks. She thinks to herself, if I can change one person's life the way mine has been changed, I am going to be vulnerable. Emotions. Jane looks back on week 1 Jane and week 12 Jane. She knows she still has work she wants to do, and her health and fitness journey will never end. But Jane is different. What's different? Jane knows her way around the store. She knows what foods are MelFit approved. Although her shopping list has several items on it each week, she has stocked up her pantry and spices and only needs to get a few items each week. Jane has learned what proteins to keep on hand and keep them in the freezer. Jane realizes she's not only saved her own life, she's also saved money and food waste. Jane looks at her spouse and realizes, right along with her, he has lost over 20 pounds. She has learned to love healthy food and drank the Kool-Aid one too many times over the 12 weeks and no longer feels a need for certain off-plan foods. It's not the guilt she feels, it is the sickness, the breakouts, the fatigue. Jane never thought that her sugar cravings would go away and she would find simple pleasure in eating in-season fruit. She actually goes home and celebrates in her own head that she passed up sugar. The corners of her mouth turn up and she wonders if anyone is watching and wondering why she's so happy. She doesn't care. This is her celebration. Jane has learned how to order in a restaurant and no longer fears each outing away from her planned meals and knows it won't derail her off the tracks. Jane has learned how to travel and maintain her weight, making small changes and utilizing the things she's learned. Jane realizes that Coach Mel is teaching us a lifestyle and wants us to have free days and vacations and just live. At the end of the day, we all know where to go back to when the train derails, and that is the most important thing Jane has learned. Just because you have one flat tire, we don't slash the other 3. Jane has crossed over. Many will never know this side. It cannot be explained easily. It has to be experienced. When you know, you know. Jane has found the life ring she has been searching for years. No panicking, no wondering if the weight is going to come back. Finally, real information backed by science and mathematics. This is a transformation that Jane can be proud of. No more starvation, no more pills and liquid gold. Jane did it. She did it the right way. Once and for all, Jane knows the secret to accomplishing her health and fitness goals. Are you Jane? Can you see why that would have made me cry, Josh? I kept it together, though. Jane or Joe or whatever, male or female, how have you evolved? What things do you do now that are a habit and weren't before? MelFit is about getting to know one's self and our strengths and weaknesses. When to ask for help during the weak times and when to help others when we are strong. To not make anyone feel like they are different than us and that anything is possible if you believe in you. To give grace and empathy when needed and to push us further than we thought we could ever go. Even deeper. Why is the scale your ride or die? How can you start rating success by things other than the scale? Loving yourself is what success looks like. It cannot be defined by anyone's formula of what your weight should be. This is your formula. When you can be truly happy well before your supposed goal weight, you have arrived. Those are some deep ones, right, you guys? And I always end my Facebook Live with a quote. And my quote was, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending." And I was on the phone with somebody today, and the last thing I said to her was, "Don't look back, you're not going there." Why spend an ounce of your energy on something that you cannot change? I mean, it's so perfect. Where are we at, Josh? 21 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So this one might be a little bit shorter, but I think it's a good one, don't you, Josh?
I agree.
So hopefully, if you're listening to this and you are part of the Melfit Army, you're listening to this, and while I was speaking, you were nodding your head, and you said, "I was Jane," or "I am Jane." Or if you're listening to this and you haven't started your health and fitness journey, maybe you're in tears, maybe this really touched you, and you realize that everybody that you see that I've helped started this way with fears and didn't know where to start, didn't know how to start working out, didn't know how to cook. And the one thing that sets Melfit aside from any plan you've probably ever done is I am the full enchilada, as my girlfriend would call it. I don't farm you out. I am a chef. I'm a nutritionist. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a life coach, marathon coach. I listen. So anything you need, you get it from one resource, which is so amazing. So if you're ready to put your eggs in one basket, get results once and for all, and learn once and for all how people who have reached their health and fitness goals maintain their weight and stay motivated day in and day out, I will give you the answer. And maybe you got the answer from this, and maybe you see the bigger picture, but Rome wasn't built in a day. If you see somebody that's spot on their food prep, they're checking in with me, and they're working out 5 days a week, they did not start there. They probably started on our 8-week Just Start plan, which is introducing 1 or 2 small health tasks a week. And then from there, they started into our intermediate. And from there, they went into advanced or maintenance. So the thing about most people is you need to know that your health and wellness, your health is your greatest wealth. And when you're setting your monthly budget, your health should be right up there with your health insurance and the roof over your head. You can't stop putting yourself on the back burner. I told a client this morning, stay in your lane. She said, "I feel so bad that I can't do this on my own." It took me over 20 years to learn what I'm teaching you. If you want to put 20 years in and learn this, you're more than welcome to. But if not, then it's okay to invest in your health and hire an expert to help you. I never ever fear that I can't help someone. But I do always go back to that phrase with people, are you doing your part? If I'm doing my part and you're doing your part, then there is no reason we shouldn't, it should be dynamite. So thanks for tuning in to this, I want to say Facebook Live. Thanks for tuning in to the Melfit podcast. If this resonated with you, if you're ready to start your journey, reach out to me. You can DM me. You can find me on Facebook. You can email me. It's really, really easy to get a hold of me. So make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, share. Anything else?
No.
It's been amazing connecting, inspiring, and motivating you guys. And we'll see you guys on the next, or you will be listening to this on the next Melfit podcast. Bye-bye.